Great, thank you so much. Let's see. Hey guys, thank you. Here we go. Okay, so today we are doing it's English home language, and we are doing prescribed poetry. The one we are dealing with today is called Somewhere I Have Never Traveled Gladly Beyond. Let's quickly have a look at that. Just get to the poem itself. There we go. Somewhere I have never traveled gladly beyond any experience. Your eyes have their silence. Your eyes have their silence. When you see that immediately, when you see a colon, what does that mean? No, you have to tell me what's happening next. I'm asking what's happening next. When you see a colon.
Sir, the poem is not in the booklet. I'm on page 40, but it's not in the booklet.
You are right. So unfortunately, you have to. Um, I'm going to I'm going to take a pic and then send it to you on the group, if that's okay. But it's on the screen. I'm so sorry, guys. It's definitely not in the booklet. Okay. You are English HL. For English HL. Okay, there we go. Did you get that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Let's see. Somewhere I have never traveled gladly beyond any experience. Your eyes have their silence. Has anyone figured out why we have a colon? When there's a colon, when they send you to the shop, they'll say, colon, please can you bring me some colon? Apples, pears, tomatoes, onions. A list follows or an explanation follows. So you're asking yourself, why is he saying your eyes have their silence? What do you think that is when he says your eyes have their silence? What type of figure of speech is that? Oh, this is cool. Think about it. Why would your eyes have their silence? Let's try that again. Here we go. Here's the explanation. In your most frail gesture are things which enclose me. In other words, it closes me up. Maybe it covers me. Or which I cannot touch. Oh, because they are too near. Your slightest look easily will unclose me. So the very thing that closes him up is the very thing that opens him up. Your slightest look. So there's a contrast, eh? Or it looks like a paradox. Paradox, remember, are two contrasting phrases that seem to contrast each other, opposites that seem to contrast each other, but they make sense on a deeper level. No? The oxymoron are two opposite words next to each other. Maybe that's a paradox. Let's have a look at that. Your slightest look easily will unclose me, though I have closed myself as fingers. What is that? Though I have closed myself as fingers. What figure of speech or poetic device is that? Think about it. Though I have closed myself as fingers. Always go through your list. What was the first one I taught you? Very first one I taught you. A simile. Why? The word as. When you see as, like, or than, those are the words that indicate it's a simile. Well done. So though I have closed myself as fingers, you open always petal by petal. Okay, when he says petal by petal, it looks like he's now talking about like a rose, the petals of a rose. You open myself. You open always petal by petal myself, as spring opens, touching skillfully, mysteriously, her first rose. Next page. Or if your wish be to close me, I and my life will shut very beautifully, suddenly, as when the heart of this flower imagines the snow carefully everywhere descending. Okay, descending means downwards, moving downwards. Nothing which we are to perceive in this world equals the power of your intense fragility. We stick again. Remember when up front he talks about your eyes are the silence in your eyes, and then he gives an explanation. We have a colon again talking about the intense fragility. Now what? Who does what? Explanation. Whose texture compels me with the color of its countries, rendering death and forever with each breathing. I do not know what it is about you that closes and opens. Only something in me understands the voice of your eyes is deeper than all roses. Nobody, not even the rain, has such small hands. Ah, it's actually beautiful in the end. So you know what it means? It means, have you ever met a person, you look the person in the eye and it's just like, this person's eyes, man, it captures me. Like when this person looks at me, you're just like, I can't look at this person. There's just, maybe it's about the fragility. The person is so fragile. The person could be so sweet. The person could be so intense. That I think that, and so whenever he looks at this person, it touches him so deeply that, have you seen a child on the street perhaps, the eyes that look at you like, it touches you so deeply. You're thinking, I want to give him something, but there's something that tells you close up, because this person could draw you into their mess to the extent where you just give everything. Now let's read the poem again and see if it makes a bit more sense. Somewhere I've never traveled. Where's that? Yes. It's so deep, it's the mystery of this person, like the silence of this person, the mystery of this. So this person is taking you into that, almost that world, that mysterious world with him or her. Let's go. Somewhere I've never traveled, gladly beyond any experience. Your eyes have their silence. In your most frail gesture are things which enclose me, or which I cannot touch because they are too near. Your slightest look easily will unclose me. Another word for that is open, will unclose me. Though I have closed myself as fingers, you open always petal by petal myself as spring opens, touching skillfully, mysteriously, her first rose. Or if your wish be to close me, I and my life will shut very beautifully, suddenly, as when the heart of this flower imagines the snow carefully everywhere descending. Nothing which we are to perceive in this world equals the power of your intense fragility, whose texture compels me with the color of its countries, rendering death and forever with each breathing. I do not know what it is about you that closes and opens. Only something in me understands the voice of your eyes is deeper than all roses. The voice of your eyes. Could your eyes have a voice? That could possibly be personification. That the voice of your eyes is deeper than all roses. Nobody, not even the rain, has such small hands, has such fragile. It's so small it can open you up or it can close you. Now let's go to your booklet and see what the text says about it. Okay, summary. The speaker is addressing the one he loves with great tenderness and wonder. He admits the power. Sis, do you have a booklet? Oh, okay, cool. Okay. He admits the power that person has over him, but does not really understand why it should be so. Even the small things about that person, the person's texture, the gesture, a look are utterly fascinating. I know some of you have been that in love, and everybody said, stay away from this guy. But you're just like, nah, there's just something about him. And so this is the deal. This is what he's saying. He's addressing the one he loves with great tenderness and wonder. He admits the power that that person has over him, but does not really understand why it should be so. Even the small things about that person, the texture, his gestures or her gestures are utterly fascinating. Then let's look at the theme of this poem and see if we can understand it. That's on page 42, or 41, next page, top. The poem deals, here we go, with the mysterious, even incomprehensible nature of love, while also emphasizing its overwhelming force of intensity. Mense wat verlief is, people who are in love get crazy in love. Like they're so deep into it that nothing makes sense. 2 years down the line or a year down the line, I'm so stupid. You know? So this is what this is. It's about the mystery of love, the incomprehensible nature of love, and while also emphasizing its overwhelming force and intensity. Good morning, Jessica. I think you need one of these. What happened? Okay. In your booklet, you're on page 40. Let's discuss this. The discussion. The first line of the poem serves as the title of the poem. We're discussing the title. The use of lowercase letters. It's very unusual that they would start a poem in lowercase or even the title of the poem in lowercase. The use of lowercase letters, the unusual word order, the unfinished sentence, and the missing space after the comma tells us we can expect unusual ways of using language in the poem. That's what you want to underline. You can expect unusual ways of using language in the poem. Why? Or they can ask you, why would you expect an unusual way of using language in this poem? Why would that be? You're going to say the use of the lowercase letters. There's unusual word order in that title. There's an unfinished sentence. There's the missing space because after a comma there should be a space. Tells us that we can expect this particular thing. Can you see? Even if you just go to the top of the page where we are at, somewhere I've never traveled gladly beyond. It's in lowercase, the I is in lowercase, somewhere I've never traveled gladly beyond. It's the unorthodox way of using words. There is the dash at the end. It shows that the sentence isn't finished. There's no space between the comma and the next word, gladly. That's very unusual. No, that's a colon. The dash, go to the top of this page where the title is. Now go to the title. Put your finger where the title is. Go to the title. At the end of that, where it says beyond, that's a dash. No. A hyphen, almost like that. A hyphen is it connects words. When you say semicolon dash in between, Kelly Lee dash. No, that's a hyphen. Sorry, it's a hyphen. Kelly Ann hyphen. You see, connects words. But a dash is almost like a pause. We're going to include a certain. Let's for instance say the people, all the holiday makers. Is this thing on? So let me just see if I can write here. I'm so sorry, everyone. I did not put this pad on. I'll put it on in a minute. I just want to show them something or show you guys something as well. I want to be here. Show you the difference between a dash and the hyphen. It's actually they have asked that before. I'm sure you've seen that in papers. Yeah? So your dash should be something like all the, let's say, the holiday makers. You could go those from, let's say, Joburg. So like you're inserting something and then you say enjoyed the beautiful weather. Can you see that? So your dash, it's like a pause, you're inserting something there. Great. But you can see in this title they did not insert anything. It's almost like the sentence is incomplete. Let's go back here. Yeah, that's where we want to be. Great, thank you. So, let's look at the typing form of this poem. The poem has 5 stanzas, 4 lines each. Although the lines are roughly the same length, the meter of the poem is irregular and the use of enjambment gives the poem a free-flowing irregular rhythm. Enjambment, do you remember what enjambment is? No punctuation. And why would they do it in this poem? Why would they use enjambment in this poem? Think about what the theme is. You answer to the theme. What's the theme of this poem? Theme. What's the theme about? Theme. That's the title. What's the theme? Waaroor gaan het? What's it about? The nature of love. What specifically about the nature of love? How is it? How is it? And mysterious and erratic. So hold up. So they're saying I can't box this for you by putting a punctuation in here like it's all complete. Because today you feel this way, then the person draws you deep into their thoughts and you just so enjambment almost gives us that erratic feeling, that mysterious feeling. It just goes on and on and on and on. It gets more mysterious in there. So that's the use. That's why I think there's the use of the enjambment, because you cannot box love by putting an exclamation here or full stop here. So let's go on. We'll see how this thing unfolds. Cummings is famous for his unusual use of punctuation of the word. Remember, word order and vocabulary. It's unusual. This is the way he writes. Although the structure of this poem is fairly normal, there are many examples of unusual punctuation. For example, he does not use any capital letters except for the word spring in line 7. So that's the only capital letter he uses. The increase, I'm so sorry. Bona, can you help me please? I'm so sorry guys. I'll be with you in a minute. Can you perhaps get me some water? Are you going to the shop? I don't have cash on. You're just gonna have to. You know what? My wallet's in the car. Do you have cash on you? Yes, I can give it to you. Okay, just normal still water. And if you can get maybe some sweets, maybe some smoothies like 2 days worth. I just want to. Thank you. I'm so sorry. I'll give it back to you. Thank you, guys. Okay, here we go. Cummings is famous for his unusual use of punctuation. We discussed that, and the only capital letter he uses is in the word spring in line 7. This increases the free flowing rhythm. That's what you want to. There's irregular rhythm for the enjambment, there's the free flowing rhythm, as if the speaker is thinking to himself rather than speaking. So when you think, you're always just sitting there thinking, and it's irregular, it's free flowing. He also leaves out the spaces between some words after a comma or brackets. For example, travel gladly in line 1 and skillfully, mysteriously. Her first row is in line 8. This strengthens the link between the two words that are joined. Then, in the 5th stanza, the speaker uses brackets in an unusual way. The 5th stanza, verse 5. Let's go there and see what it looks like. Can you see the brackets? It actually starts in brackets. That's the last stanza. I do not know what it is about you that closes and opens. Let's see why he's used that. Go back to your text. In the 5th stanza, the speaker uses brackets in an unusual way. In a poem which is free-flowing and indicates the stream of his thoughts, he inserts brackets around the 3 lines as if saying, as an aside to himself, and then leaves the last line out in brackets as if it's a continuation of the 4th. I see what they're doing now. Yet, and indeed the subject matter could be regarded as related. We'll discuss now. Yet the 5th stanza is tied together by the only rhyming words in the poem. This seemingly random use of brackets could be seen as an intensifying of the theme of the poem. It's the mystery, remember? So let's look at that. Let's go back there. They're saying he started using brackets. So when you start again, like I said, with a dash, you're inserting some words, but the line goes on at the back of it. So what he's done is he's inserted the first 3 lines of this 5th stanza in brackets, almost to say that I'm carrying on with stanza 4 in the last line. So he's saying, rendering death and forever with each breathing, nobody, not even the rain, has such small hands. So you could have taken the brackets out, the first 3 lines out, for instance. So we could read, rendering death and forever with each breathing, nobody, not even the rain, has such small hands. So, but he's saying, let me explain to you by putting this in, why I'm saying that. So he's saying the stanza 4 and stanza 5, the last line, those are interconnected, but I've given you some more information as an explanation as to why I'm saying that. And again, it has to do with his irregular style of writing, but also, yes, it's also to include some more information. Yes. So and what's the other thing I wanted to say about that? I wanted to say something about. Oh, it's almost like they're saying this is a side note to himself. Like you're saying to me, let's say, I can't wait to get home. But you're saying the other things to yourself. Because when I get home, I'm going to eat, I'm going to do this and whatever. So this is almost the thoughts in his head he's saying. That's what they are saying. Okay, so let's read again. No, we understand that. Let's go to the next page. We're going to talk about the imagery being used in this poem. Stanza 1. Cummings uses unusual combinations of words. We're talking about images to provide a fresh and vivid description of something hard to describe, like you can't describe love, the mystery of love, the overwhelming feelings you get. In lines 1 and 2, he speaks of a place somewhere I've never traveled, where the eyes of his loved one have their silence. This place is not a physical location, that's what you want to underline, but an emotional. Thank you so much. Thank you. But an emotional place. Is that what we are reading? An emotional destination where he experiences the silence or peaceful stillness he feels as he gazes into the eyes of his love, of his beloved. So he's experiencing like that peace, that stillness, as he gazes into the eyes of his the one he loves. He speaks of things which enclose me. In line 3, that's a metaphor. I circle that. Things that, and what does it do? It's describing his feeling of total immersion in love. He's describing the feeling of total immersion in love. Then he feels, because when you are enclosed, with it net toegemaak, it just came over me. You are immersed in it. Then he feels there are some things he cannot touch or deal with because they are too near. They are too intimate. When they ask you what does that mean, too near, it means they are too intimate perhaps, leading to an intense vulnerability. It's too in his face. Okay? Then the speaker picks up the idea of enclosing in stanza 2. He's using those words, saying that one look from his loved one will unclose me, as if they have the key to his heart. So you want to say, as if they have the key to his heart or his mind, even if he has closed himself like clenching fingers, that simile, his beloved can open him up bit by bit like a rose opening gradually. So this person has the key to unclose him or to open him. Stanza 3. Again he mentions the idea of closing. But this time the image is of him closing himself up. There are images of nature. There are the flower and the snow descending. The flower is personified. This flower imagines, a flower cannot imagine, that's personification. Now, in stanza 4, in this stanza, the speaker describes the power of his beloved's intense fragility. Remember, we did say it's a paradox. No? The power of his beloved's intense fragility, because it's fragile, but it's intense. He uses alliteration in line 15, compels, color, and countries to emphasize how mesmerizing he finds the delicate fragility of his beloved. He also uses assonance, rendering death forever, the E sound, death, rendering, and each breathing. Line 16 describes each breath his loved one takes as rendering death and forever. This image suggests the depth of his love. Complex concepts like death and forever, eternity, are contained in a single breath. Death and eternity, those concepts, are contained, rendering death and forever. Now, last stanza. In lines 17 to 19, the speaker returns to the image of a flower and the idea of closing and opening up. He says that he knows the voice of your eyes is deeper than all roses. Another unusual metaphor, that's a metaphor, yes, which seems to make no sense but has to be understood intuitively. The message he reads in the beloved's eyes, perhaps, that's what you want to underline, gives him a joy more intense than the deep red of a rose. Roses are often symbols of love in poetry. Then the last line in this poem seems to be a continuation of the thoughts he was describing in stanza 4 when he mentioned the intense fragility of his beloved. He finishes the poem by referring to their small hands and saying, not even the rain has small hands. This metaphor seems to compare, that's the function of the metaphor. It seems to compare the soft, gentle touch of the rain to the touch of small, delicate fingers. That's the function of that metaphor. And then you will see, I think that's about it. You'll see diction on the next page. Words that describe love, The power of his love includes stanza 1, things enclose me I cannot near, easily will unclose me, beautifully, suddenly. And then words that describes the mystery of love include beyond any experience, mysterious, nothing, and world. Then words describing his loved one, your eyes, your silence, your most fragile, frail gesture. In stanza 2, the slightest look, you're open, you're like a rose, your intense fragility, rendering death and breathing, and then the voice and blah 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 blah. It just goes on. Then you will see the tone. Tone is obviously sets the mood. The tone of this poem combines bewilderment at love's mysterious power with the joyful acceptance of his love. There's the bewilderment of love's mystery, and then there's the joyful acceptance of this love. You can go through each stanza, and then you'll be able to see what the tone is for every one of those stanzas. That, in a nutshell, is somewhere I've never traveled, gladly beyond. Thank you so much. Okay, I think that's what we're going to do for today in terms of the home language class. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good day.